Shalom, family. Glory be to God and blessed be the Lamb. Glory be to God and blessed be the Lamb. The prophecy is real. The prophecy is real. The book is real. And the God is real. You know, it's weird, that word is real. Is real. God is real. The prophecy is real. As in Israel. As in Israel. It's kind of weird, ain't it? Well, the Bible says Israel and Israel prepare for war. Israel and Israel prepare for war. God acknowledges the imposter as well as Israel. And he tells them both to prepare for war. One Israel has never stopped fighting. They've been in one form of resistance or war since their conversion to Judaism, if not before. If not before, but during their relevant history as Khazarians, and the conversion from Khazarians who worshipped basically nothing into what would now become Judaism, which they would later acclaim as the birthplace of Israel. Judaism's birthplace would be Israel, along with Christianity, and some would even say Islam, and the Holy Lands. But that Israel is an imposter. There's nothing else you can actually call it except that, if you're being honest with it. The other Israel has barely begun to fight, but already they're winning. They're already winning. While one Israel is fighting for its existence and its life and being softened up for the final battle, the true Israel is in preparation and separation. It can't go any other way. There's no other way that it can go. Anyone watching this can clearly see that this is the inevitable conclusion. There can't be two. There's nowhere for it to go. One must be vanquished either by force or submission. If Israel is to submit, then it must also vanquish their God, their belief, their history, their culture, themselves. Complete submission. On the other hand, the imposter Israel, I think I can get away with that at this point. It beats saying fake Jew. So we'll stick with going with imposter Israel, the converted, the one who currently has the designs of wanting to rule the world. Those are lofty ideals. You're talking about thinking big. I think big like that. But anyway, it ain't about me. They want to rule the world, I think. They have we've been watching. They have strategically placed power centers, what I would call them, or connections, hood speak style, throughout the world. A connection over here, a connection over there, a connection over here. I keep telling you, it's like a spider web, this synagogue of Satan, which is what they are. I think that we are beyond niceties. We can remain cordial, but we shall be calling a spade a spade. One Israel worships the Ancient of Ancients, the Creator. The other has their own father. we've asked them before, and they've had a ample amount of time to reveal who their God was, because they have tricked the world into believing that they're one of the monotheistic religions. Turns out that is a lie. Turns out there are only two monotheistic religions. The other one has a completely different God. I like that too. That's one hell of a trick on the world. I like that. I like, and particular, I like the length of time that you can carry a note. You had to carry this note generationally. I like that. That takes cultural stamina and belief in something fleshly, quite fleshly. Be because neither father just shows up and says, "I'm the father." No, generally speaking, someone has to teach them who the father is. And that person would be flesh and bone, flesh and bone. So my hat's off to that person, whoever it may be. Man, from when you are a member of Israel, it looks different. It looks different. It looks different from the eyes of real Israel, which at the helm is Jesus, or at least what you call Jesus, but we both know that that wasn't his real name. I'll get back to that guy. But the look is different. I can only imagine what imposter Israel feels. This is real Tom Clancy novel level stuff here. God must be into spy novels, war novels, espionage novels, action. I mean, this is curious, more than curious. Man, you couldn't draw this up any better. At the end of all ends, Israel finally meets Israel. What a freaking climax. You can't get better than that. You can't get better than that. Remember when I told you guys that you have friends? But sometimes friends have to remain silent. Friends have to remain in the background, else they can't be your friend long. You expose some of your friends and you will lose your friend. Because their very livelihood depends on them being your friend in the background until further notice. Sometimes we even violate that. Sometimes we violate that without even knowing. At any rate, who could write a better ending to such a glorious story, people? God damn. I cannot think, and I can't think of a better reason to die. I can't. I mean, I just can't. But you know what? All of us are not soldiers. But to us soldiers, we understand exactly the sentiment here. There is no better reason. There is no better battle. There has never been one. This one is for the books, both the old book and the one being written. In fact, I think that it's going to be chapter one in the new book. In the new book. But my point is, this can only go one way. They have, I mean, you look at all of the options that they have. They know that the whole world knows. They know that other nations are speaking openly about it, have emptied out their archives and showing you evidence that you are who you are and they're not you. Plus, they have taken on somewhere I don't know, I don't want to put a number on it. There's so many different numbers concerning these other people because numbers follow them. Usually your money. It's never their money. Anybody ever seen a damn shekel? Me neither. But every last one of them have seen a goddamn dollar bill. Something about that shekel. At any rate, they accuse me of being anti-Semitic. Israel, prepare yourselves, both of you. This one, by the time we actually get to them, they're going to be good and tired, fatigued, demoralized, and weakened politically, if not militarily. And I don't think that they can really fight no way. I mean, I've only seen them fight those around them, and those around them do to the United States, and its sanctions have been kept weak um, to the point that they can never or have not been able to reach military parity with their neighbor Israel, the imposter. The imposter Israel even have nuclear weapons, which I must be dark right about here because I'm actually hoping that they use them. I know. I don't want, I don't like to get people hurt, but I've just grown tired of it. If the threat is nukes, if you're gonna use uh, the threat of if you don't let us do what we want to do, we will use nuclear weapons. Well, you're talking to the wrong type of guy because I'm going and get the red button and I'm going to bring it to you and say, hurry up and push that bastard because whatever is left of us, we shall kill every last one of you. Every last one of you. And I do mean that just like it sounds, every last one of you. There will be nothing left except the memory of your ass. And within 5 years, just a shadow of a memory. They will only read about you in books, like those other dudes, the Romans. Anyone seen one lately? Have you seen any of their children that's running around saying that my great grandpappy was a Roman? No, you have not. You know why? They could not defeat the barbarians at the gate. Yeah, one day they woke up and they were surrounded by barbarians at the gates. And they wanted them some Roman ass. But we're not talking about Romans, so that's a whole nother thing. But it's fun to talk about when you break it down hood style. They was tripping. They had a rough next 5 to 7 months. The barbarians were not playing with them. Neither were the hordes or the peasants. Oh man. Oh boy. It was so rough on them that they started stabbing each other with knives. I mean, damn. Anyway, man. Anyway, them damn Romans. But anyway, back to this guy over here. Today would be pretty much. They will. Hold up. Someone is upset with me because I spoke of the Romans and they got. I think I pissed somebody off. That is what they did. Now I was being nice. I left stuff out. I left things out. Okay, let me. You know what? I wasn't gonna do this here, but one of the things that the Romans enjoyed as a pastime, you know what they would do after a rough battle? Guess what they went home and they did? Overwhelmingly. If any of you that gets fun, a good funneling, well, you be right. Now, see, that's not my fault. I'm not talking about the Romans. I'm talking about the Israeli imposter. But let's leave those Romans alone. And at the end, do you know that the emperor's friends all got together with knives and they took turns stabbing him? This is while the barbarians were at the gate and as well as their government collapsing and their empire shrinking. Anyway, you kind of have to be a student of history to appreciate the joke. Uh, Apparently, someone's not. Someone's not. Damn. It's okay. They're gone now. They're all gone. They're not going to come back and get you fired. Okay? Those Romans are on the trash heap of history. They're never coming back. Never. Ever. At any rate, I was trying to be nice. Have I cursed yet? No. Regulator is on. The regulator is working. The filter is also working. And I shall not be provoked. I won't be provoked. But the Bible is clear. Israel and Israel get ready for war. Prepare for war. Did any of your pastors tell you any of this stuff? The short answer is no, because they hope to avoid it, thinking that the Bible was nothing more than a legend, a myth. And speaking of legends, you do understand that I don't know how this guy got out of here. Wait a minute, this guy's good. This guy got out of boiling excrement, whooped the inhabitants and guards of hell ass, escaped hell, and now says that I'm going to lead Israel into war. And the operative word is lead. See, there's two types of leaders. Two types of leaders. There's the leader that send his soldiers into battle. Today's leaders are sitting in bunkers. That's well they should. They got big ass bombs. I mean, some of these bombs will take out half a city with no problem. And everything in it. With no problem. So they have to operate in times of war, outside of the theater. I get that. But I'm just saying, I'm not gonna be inside of a bunker. No, I'll be out front leading Israel into battle with the storms, of course. I love storms. It's when I do my best work. Something about them goddamn storms and fires and shit, man. Anyway, let's keep it clean. So this is where we are. There's no getting out of it. And my point really being, who could write a better book? Both the first one and the second one. You know how hard it is to those of you who write or speak. You know how hard it is sometimes to develop a character. Those of you who don't write or speak, you're not going to understand. And I ain't going to explain. Sometimes you have to develop the character to get the audience to understand who they are. In other words, I'm not going to just say that this guy's name is Joe. No, I have to tell you who Joe is. I got to tell you Joe's background, whether he's married or not, what school he went to, how his life was, how he came to be where he's at, all kinds of stuff. It's called developing the character. I hate it. I personally hate it. I think that you should just take my word for it. If I knock on your door and I have a guy named Joe and I tell you that Joe was the killer and here Joe is, then there should be no question from you. Whether I have a badge or not. My thinking being, do you have evidence that he's not the killer? Or are you the police? Well, then Joe is the killer. Damn. Otherwise, just be quiet. But character development, I hate it. But over here, it's easy because the character develops their own selves. It's easy. You only have to kind of narrate it and do inserts. They don't see the inserts. They don't think that they're inserts. But I'm staying away from that. because things are delicate, very delicate right now. Even I can see it. This is delicate on the world stage. Whew, it's a combination of walking a fine line on fucking potato chips and not trying to make a sound. But there's been some decent moves lately on the world stage. Finally, some shit starting to make sense, which is why I'm saying there's no way out because also out of that same Bible, it says, God's word says that every nation shall rise against Israel. So I went to thinking, well, we know two things for sure. The Israel, the real Israel, every nation have already risen against them for thousands of years. They've been slaves for, for thousands of years. Some would argue that they're still slaves now. Not tonight. Not tonight. Okay? But some would argue that they are still slaves now. That would be the history. There's no way out of it. And in this country, there is a representative of every culture, race, tongue, and creed in the world right here. Ergo, look it up. The entire world has risen against thee because in this country, abject racism is practiced openly, not just practiced openly, but it's by policy, both written and unwritten. Ergo, again, hence, every nation has already risen against thee in America, as well as the world, because they are America is the world. America is the world. Okay? But over here lies imposter Israel. The entire world has not risen up against them. But I can see the makings of it. They are really asking for it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I can already almost see the scenario. It's going to happen. And it's at that very point, at that very moment, that Israel will meet Israel. Because at the same time, Israel, the fake Israel, must stop the social political onslaught, spiritual onslaught that's going on by the real Israel, and they're not even doing anything because they don't have to. All they have to do is exist, and that puts them immediately in the winner spot on the on the sociological battlefield and on the spiritual battlefield, on the psychological battlefield. They're all they are winning on all three of those fields without even lifting a finger and saying, "Hey, we are Israel." Them people lying. No, they only hear one voice saying it and some scatterings, and yet you winning. I'm talking about if this was a military battle. They ain't but 6 months from waving a white flag. 6 months to a year if this was a military battle. That's how much ass you have been kicking on the sociological level, psychological level, emotional level, and you ain't even broke a sweat. This is just your history doing it. Some would even argue your ancestors have orchestrated it. But real Israel haven't even lifted a finger, and already they are winning on three of the five known battlefields. Now, what did I say? He who wins on three of the five, nominally number four will fall into place. That means the only thing left is physical, the battle itself. The battle itself. This is why I speak strongly. And I shouldn't have to explain myself. I mean, they say the guy been thrown a they say, man, I mean, it would almost hurt one's feelings. I mean, I believe I am who I believe I am. And to say that I was somehow in hell in a boiling and hot excrement. And what kind of excrement was it? Was it, goodness gracious, human excrement? Excrement of monsters? I mean, oh man. It must have been a pretty damn good mixture, but my point being, but to say he's boiling in hot excrement, it's got to be awfully damn surprising that he's saying, you know what, as soon as I get my hands on you, you're telling people I was in boiling shit in hell. Man, and I get so much hate. And this I be saying that you can only explain a statement like that coming out of a human mind in terms of hate. That has to be motivated by hate. Damn. And it's not human hate either. That's not human hate. I'm pretty much sure of it. That's some other kind of hate, which I won't be going into tonight. So Israel prepared for war. The city rep would say that on 3 out of 5 of the battlefields which are needed to win any war, because today's warfare is not just due to taking bodies. No, anybody can do that. Anybody can kill somebody. Shit. That's the easiest thing in the damn world. The human body is frail. It's fragile. It don't have thick skin. It don't have long fangs. It doesn't have a thick furry coat to protect it from anything, not even inclement weather. It doesn't run very fast. Any of the predators can chase it down and just simply swipe it and eat it. It's not like that at all. But you would think so. You would think so. But it's not. It's not. Anyway, I was drifting. I was seriously drifting. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. If it wasn't inevitable, then I would not be here. This was inevitable. I didn't come to play patty cake. God tells you quite clearly in that same book, because he already knew that some people would be confused. You would think that I come in peace, in love and harmony. No, I bring you a sword. Plus, I brought my own. I bring you one, and I bring my own. Okay? My point being, anyway, you are winning on 3 out of 5 of the levels of the battlefield. And if I had to bring it down situational report back to the captain, he would be pleased. He'd be pleased. And there is no recovery. No recovery for the enemy. No recovery of any of those battlefields except for complete submission of 40 million. More than that, because we scattered. But just in this country, the complete submission of 48 million Israelites, also known as Jews, also known as Hebrew, also known as Negro. And I just can't see that happening. You know why? They already been down this road. And inside of them, they remember what happened the fuck last time that they went down this road and this decision was given. They remember. They're not stupid, okay? Their history is long, ancient, long and sordid and ancient. They're a very old people. You could easily call them ancient. easily are than ancient. Ancient. This is why I would have to tell others that uh, they are something that you're not. It's not due to, you know, you don't get to be ancient by being stupid. You don't get to be ancient by making mistakes. You don't get to be ancient by doing foolish things like not inventing, not being innovative, not thinking as a group, as a culture. You don't get to be ancient by not being those things. It's impossible. History is replete with dead cultures, and Mother Nature has destroyed her own share. Easy. A strong wind takes out a fucking culture. And again, it's because man is frail, easily defeated by pretty much any fucking thing out there. And imagine if those other things had guns. Man, plus the advantages that they already have against man. Man has to have a weapon. They are the weapon. Okay? The predator is the weapon. And whatever it chases, it eats. It really is like that. Mankind has been so fortunate. But back to what I was saying. This this one is inevitable. And I can only imagine what it looks like from the eyes of the imposter Israel. It has to be frightening. Even hearing this is frightening. This is doing damage. This is doing massive damage. So much that I feel bad and I want to switch the subject. And in fact, I'm going to let it go because there's no real reason to expound further on it. It's just not. Everything is known. Every twist, every possible turn. There's no more hiding, no more lies. Every lie is an open lie. And what I mean by open lie, I just get caught at it. I just don't care that I get caught at the lie. And then I lie again. And then I get caught at it. And then I lie again. Well, that's an open lie. And at some point, it is habitual. It's pathological. Pathological. Some would even argue mental illness. But you know me. I don't believe wholeheartedly in mental illness unless somebody fell on their head or they had a hard childbirth or something, or maybe some type of chemical that poisoned them in one way or the other. Out beyond those things, a outside genesis of mental illness, I don't believe in it. I believe that such pathologies like lying incessantly is spiritual, not mental, spiritual. There's nothing mental about it. They just want to call it that and they give it fancy names like pathological. No, that some bitch is spiritually possessed. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm Source. I'm Seven. I'm One.